Hridaya Vidyaniketan.
Hello, my dear friends. I hope all of you are safe and fine today. Welcome back to a new episode of The Magical Book. Last week, we had studied the number of days that makes a week. Today, stepping into a new month, let us learn about the number of months we have in a year. Students, can you tell me how many months are there in a year? Yes, there are 12 months in a year. Can you name them all? It starts from January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Now you have learnt the names of 12 months. When we complete these 12 months, it is called a year. Students, can you tell me which month are we in? Can you name the month of today? Yes, it is July. Can you name the year? It is 2020. Last week we had studied about the days in a week. When a full week comes together, it makes 1 month. And when 12 months come together, that makes a year. Dear students, last week we had learned about this young little champ called Harish. Everyone tell hi to Harish. Yes. Now we know that how Harish spent his last week. It was a vacation time. He and his mother hurriedly went to the school book counter to collect the books for the class 3. And we also know that it was before 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We also came to know that they were in a hurry because Amit had also collected his books. Dear friends, now I need you all to open your English textbook, turn to page number 5 and follow as I read them. As soon as Harish got the books from the counter, he leafed through them. The pages were so crisp and neat. On the way back, Mother warned him, "Remember, Harish, you are a big boy now. You must keep these books properly. No tearing pages to make rockets and boats." Children, we had seen in the previous class that tearing off pages from the newly brought books is a bad habit. And that is the reason why the mother of Harish is warning him. When we look at these books, it was so very crisp and neat. Do you know the meaning of the word crisp? Well, the very example could be you go to a shop, you buy a chips packet or a biscuit, and when you eat them, it would be so crisp that it breaks into two. Sometimes it is because the object is in solid form. Dear children, do you know how many states of object are there? Well, there are three states of objects. Firstly, the state of solid. These are the objects that are very hard in nature. For example, your textbooks, your pencil, a telephone, a table, all those can be the examples of solid objects. And even in the textbook, we can see the pages of the newly bought books were in solid form, and that is why it was so crisp. There is a second state of object, that is the liquid. These are the objects that can take the shape of anything. You take your water bottle. The water in it is in the state of liquid. The coffee or the tea, or maybe even the soft drinks that you have, are always in the state of liquid. Thirdly, we have the gaseous state. This state can be seen very well in our day-to-day life. When we take a deep breath and we exhale it out, that is the air or the gaseous form. You can very easily sense it. Just take your palm in front of your face and blow. Now that air is in gaseous form. I hope you understood the three states of object. Can you name them all? Firstly, the state of solid. Then comes the state of liquid. Then comes the state of gaseous. Now, you know that the book was crisp and neat because that was in the state of solid. Let's read further. No, mother, this year I will keep my books neat. I won't tear pages, I promise. Harish was good at studies. He played basketball well. But he had one bad habit. He treated his books badly. He would tear their pages, touch them with dirty hands, throw them around, and often misplace them. His parents and teachers scolded him several times for this, but he did not listen. His mother hoped that at least this year he would be more careful. Children, we all make promises, but how many of you keep your promises? Every year we make a promise that they will study well this year. We will not play around and waste our time. We would look into the studies very seriously. But all of us make promises into vain. That is, we break our promises, right? We also make promises to obey our parents. We also make promises that we won't lie to our parents. We also make promises that will please our parents. But how many of you will always succeed in it? Here, even Harish is making a promise that he will not tear the pages from the newly brought books. But what happens later? Like every one of us, like every one of you and me, he also was very good at studies and also a basketball player. Can you tell me how many players are there in a basketball team? Well, there are always only 5 players in a basketball team. Have you seen a basketball? Then tell me, which of these would be a basketball? You have the small ball, then a bigger ball, then another big ball. The first ball is the ball used to play cricket. The second ball is the ball used to play football. Therefore, the third ball is the basketball. Have you ever played basketball? Well, that is a very interesting game. So, we get to know that Harish loved to play basketball. But he also had a bad habit, a very bad habit of tearing the pages from the newly brought books. Many of us also have the same habit, right? But remember, I had told you that there is a big difference between good habits and bad habits. And tearing pages from the newly brought books is completely a very bad habit. But I know most of us don't do it because we are good children. Now, when we read the text, we can see that Harish used to touch his books with dirty hands. When is it dirty? Most of our hands get dirty as we go to play in a playground. We may fall and we may get dusted so much that our hands, our face and our legs would be very dirty. And most of us would go to our study table and open our books with our dirty hands and not washing them. Do you know that now there is a big disease going on in this world that is called as Corona? And that is why your parents and teachers are always forcing you to wash your hands so that there won't be any kind of dirty germs in your hands and you will be safe. In the same way, whenever you read or you plan to study something and you want to open your book, make sure that you wash your hands and your face and your legs so that you stay neat and tidy. When we look at the text, we can see that he used to throw the books around. He always misplaced them. What does the word misplace means? It basically means you can see the pen in this pen stand. And most of us, what we do, we take this pen out, we write, we scribble, and then we forget to place it back to the pen stand. Or, for instance, when you use your pen or sketch pens, you can see after you color, you may forget to replace it with the cap. In the same way, Harish used to throw away his books after he read over it. After the study time, he just threw the books somewhere that he couldn't even find it the next time. Many of us may be like that, but remember, that is a very bad habit. And then we could see his parents and teachers always scolded him, telling not to misplace his textbooks and notebooks, and also to be very much careful with it. Dear children, for today, let me tell you this. Be responsible whenever you take something out. You take your pens, you take your pencil, you take your eraser, you take your scale, you take your toys, anything. Be responsible enough to replace that from where you have taken, because later you may just forget where you had lost it. So, till I meet you next, be responsible and be safe. Make sure everyone around you are very responsible in whatever they do. Stay safe, take care, thank you. Now, it's a break. Here comes your homeworks. First one, name the last 5 months of a year. Second, write down today's date. Third, name any 2 objects that are in the form of solid and 2 objects in the form of liquid and 2 objects that are in the form of gaseous. Fourth assignment, I need you all to read the textbook till where we have studied. And finally, write down any 5 games that you love to play.
Purnodaya Nityaniketan